Und damit ein herzliches Willkommen zu einem weiteren Part Let's Play Fake und Order. Ich bin jetzt heute im Simmerfix. Wir sind in Chapter 9 von Avalon Love und natürlich hier auf dem Weg, hoffentlich hier die Bedrohung von Norwich hier zu stoppen. Dort sind wir beim letzten Mal angekommen, haben hier das wahre Kind der Prophezeiung, nämlich die gute Meshi gesehen, die gleich mal hier von niemand anderen Springen hier mitgenommen worden ist. Und wir wurden erstmal von seinen Truppen hier angegriffen. Die goldene Frage ist natürlich, wie kommen wir am Meshi dann und was machen wir gegen das Unheil, was hier die Leute nicht ganz so sehr, ehrlich gesagt, beeinflusst. Aber ich denke, erstmal werden wir fliehen müssen. Damit, here comes another wave. From a square round, Maxi. Don't get caught out alone, or they'll pick us off at one at a time. Right, that makes sense. They're definitely stronger than I am. I say they might not be as bad as the soldiers in Olympus, but they're still ridiculously tough. Guess that's furries for you. Okay, let me try flash bomb spell. Alright, I use the bit next. Now they've got us pinned down on both sides. Good. Those MPs must have heard the commotion. You there, cut off their escape route. It's over for you. Prepare to feel the wrath of Lord Huh? You're right, it's over, for you. This area belongs to the Norwich Merchants Association. Lord Spring's private soldiers have no authority here. You're the ones breaking the law. Why you? Who do you humans think you are? What firm do you belong to? Das sind die Rebellen, liebe Leute. We are part of our provisional military formed by every firm that was reinstated to help deal with the calamity pool. Our financier is the Count. Need I say more? You've got the Count backing you. Was macht denn schon wieder hier unser Graf von Monte Cristi hier? Damn it. Fine, we'll take our leave for now, but this is no MP, mark my words. Was steht MP? Military Party? Ach, keine Ahnung. It's quite a day. Took their injured and left, but... Yeah, you guys are Norwich soldiers too, right? Why do you help us? We don't know why we are giving these orders either. All we know is that you and you... Me? And me? That's right. The Count asked us to extend you an invitation to his mansion. Wer ist denn bitte der Count? Any friend of the Count's is a friend of ours. We hope you'll pay him a visit if you have the time. He said he would like to give you all a special welcome as a true savior of Norwich. And I can assure you, Count... Was? Count Pepperon is a man of his word. Ah! Peppe! Nein. Hä? Count Pepperon. Was? Ja, stimmt. Den gibt's ja noch. Eine der wenigen von unseren Krypten, die überlebt haben. Aber es ist Peppe und er ist noch schöner als jemals zuvor. Of course, it was me, hon. Oh, long time no see, Maxi. Another night call. Whoa, hang on. Oh my, what is this now? You're already palling around with two new cuties since the last time I saw you. My goodness, fate just loves you, huh, hon? Now you've got a local girls fawning all over you as well as Meshi. If it isn't Pepperoncino, you really made a name for yourself here, huh? I almost didn't recognize... what was saying? I'm not some starving crow. Of course I'd recognize you, only difference is you're deceiving even more now. Huh, you know this man too, Muramasa? Maybe you can introduce me then. So, he's got Muramasa and another beautiful man with him too. Who is that, I wonder? I'm sorry, I haven't introduced myself yet, have I? I'm Count Pepperon, the fabulous charismatic designer who arrived in Fairy Britain like a comet and built a brand to rival the Knocker Company in only a month. Hope we can let bygones be bygones and focus on the here and now, Muramasa. Oh, and you're? I see, so you're Count Pepperon. It's an honor to meet you. I'm Oberon, the Fairy King, a servant of a proper human history site. Oh my, Oberon, from A Midsummer Night's Dream? Oh, how wonderful. You're just like I always imagined you. I think you and I are going to get along swimmingly. Just look at how similar our names are. Pepperon, Oberon. It's like we've got a talent running in our very veins. Do you really know this person, Maxi? He doesn't seem like an ordinary human in multiple ways. Pip is a great guy, Leute, Mann. Er ist zwar sehr seltsam, aber er ist ein guter Typ, Mann. Wegen ihm haben wir Doman besiegt. What an honor to know you trust me so much, Maxi. Okay, I'll start with my story. After all, I'm sure you must be on the edge of your seats wondering why I'm in Fairy Britain. Ja, so viele Optionen hat es da eigentlich gar nicht mehr. And how I came into possession of such a fabulous mansion. Not really, no. You came here to kill Beryl, in revenge for what he did to Kishida. Wow, hätte ich jetzt auch mal so angenommen. You had arrived a month or two ahead of us around the time we're dealing with Limbus nonsense. Then you used your knowledge of proper human history to give yourself an edge as a designer. And now you're high on your own success and have everyone calling you Kantpipperin. Aber dass der Beryl auch nichts dagegen macht. Is that about right, Maxi? Got it in one. Well, thanks for stealing my thunder there, Da Vinci. You're a huge help. I'm surprised you nailed the barrel angle too. Do I really seem the carrying type? I guess I do. I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. Well, gosh, all the trust you have in me is going to make life hard for me as a crypter. Oh, you're still counting yourself as one of those? Kishida already cut ties with the foreign god. Or rather short he was never really on her side to begin with. And since you're always on Kirishida's side, I thought you're giving up being a crypter back at Olympus. I'm afraid it's not that simple. Besides, David's still out there. Anyway, there's a whole other thing. I'm not doing this for Wota, I'm doing it for me. As a member of Team A, I feel it's my duty to tie up all those loose ends. On another note, how was your battle with Wolfdam, Maxi? Was it fun, or was it grueling? Both really. Kishida was a hell of a master. I see. Okay. Now I want to hear all about you guys. What can you tell me about the current situation in Chaldea? Ja, das Übliche. Tod, Zerstörung, Vernichtung. Also Leben wird ausgelöst. Ach komm, kennen wir doch alles, oder? So, also, no wiederholt heute so viele Chapters noch. Aber solange wir mal 0 Erfahrung brauchen, solange geht's immer flott dabei. So. Ui, das macht voll Spaß. So nötig. I see. So there's another threat to the world besides the bleached air phenomenon. And you came here to stop this collapse. Yep, that tracks. Not really the kind thing you can just turn your back on. Sounds like things didn't go so well after you made land though. So that's why Meshi isn't here with you. Maxi, Mesh and I all ended up taking different routes out of the Nameless Woods. Mesh somehow ended up in the north, and some of the fairies think she's the child of prophecy now. Do you know anything about what happened, Count Pepperon? No, I don't. I didn't even know people thought Meshi was the child of prophecy until you told me. But I do know she's definitely not a child of prophecy. For one thing, she's not even a fairy. Exactly. The only real child of prophecy is Artoria, except no substitute. I don't think you need to be that insistent about it, Gareth. No, she's right. You're the child of prophecy. You did come here with Maxi. I've heard Anza's prophecy too. You've got the staff of selection, and you're traveling with a visitor from a foreign land. That's right, dare say it all. You're this land's savior, no doubt about it. And if the fact that you matched the prophecy perfectly wasn't enough, there's also your soul, Sora. That alone tells me everything I need to know. So chin up, Artoria. You're stronger than you think. Oh, thank you, Count Pepperon. That's it. Are you sure it's a good idea to talk about proper human history in front of Artoria and Gareth? Or does Chaldea just not care about secrecy like they used to? I know, God is definitely not going to be happy about this when he finds out. But our master insisted on at least coming clean about our objective. Oh my, how decent of you. But aren't you worried that there might arouse suspicion? These fairies will think you're crazy if you go around talking about proper human history here, you know? Well, you don't have to worry about that. We have no idea what he's talking about anyway. Likewise. Zum Glück sind sie beide Hohlköpfe. But it's okay. Whatever he is trying to do here, you can tell it means a lot to him. Oh my, what a wonderful companions you have. You're very, very lucky. I'm jealous even. The world's full of strong people, smart ones too. But the only way you get dependable friends like that is to live a life of integrity. The only friends I attract are just as selfish as I am. That's not true, Count. The soldiers who brought us here didn't just respect you for your money. They genuinely trusted you. You're not nearly as awful a person as you make yourself out to be. You think so? Okay. Moving right along. Count, do you mind if I ask something? Not at all, hon. I'm always thrilled to answer my question Prince Charming like yourself might have for me. We need to know more about what's going on with Norwich and Spring. Where aren't the fairies who live here recreating? What does Spring plan to do when the calamity finally hits? Can you tell us anything on either subject? Oh, that's easy, Oberon. One reason the Norwich fairies are vacating is because they don't fear death as much as we do. But the biggest has to do with their jobs on the land. You already know how much fairies care about their purpose, right? Well, for the fairies of Norwich, their purpose is their job, so they can't just give up and look for another. On top of that, they are also being held back by psychological shackles. You see, Spring actually sold Norwich land right before those dark clouds showed up above it. You see, back when he stole Norwich from under the previous Lord Boggart and all the fairies who owned land here were banished to the north. And Spring claimed all this land for himself. For a long time, every smith in Norwich rented the land they needed to ply their trade. But now, at long last, the land was put up for sale, and the fairies all worked together to buy it for themselves. That includes fairies Spring has been exploiting all this time. And fairies who sold everything that they could finally afford their own land. Things were much happier in Norwich after that, but then the calamity pool shot up in the sky. So the fairies won't leave Norwich because they finally have their own land here, but I believe it. To a smith, their forge is more important than their life. They could never leave it, no matter how scared they might be of this calamity pool. Is that why you put your security detail together? Because you didn't think Spring and soldiers alone would be enough? No, Spring's army has no intention of keeping Norwich safe. If anything, he wants the calamity to get here. I expect he'd like nothing better than if it got rid of all the ferry and buildings firm. I see, because he wants to nullify his contract. Now I get it. He's a land shark. That's right. It makes sense you'd have some experience with this sort of thing, huh, Muzzy? Spring never meant to give up his land. He knew the calamity could be coming. It's right there in the prophecy after all, the part about disaster befalling a city of iron and sod. So first he sold the land to the fairies at a high price. And then, once the calamity comes and effectively leaves all Norwich vacant, he'll buy it back for a steal. Norwich inheritance tax is stupidly expensive. The next generation fairies could never hope to pay it. This way, Spring gets both the money for the land and the right to redevelop it however he likes. 2 birds, 1 stone, and he doesn't even have to throw it himself. The only other place you'd find a fairy that devious is in proper human history. Are you kidding? That's even more horrible than anything any fairy in proper human history has done. I knew Spring was shameless, but I had no idea it was that awful. So that's why the fairies here still living their lives as usual. No, it's not that. They don't have any other choice after all, if they left here. They'd be broke and unable to pay the next year's existence tax. I knew it was strange. Why were there still fairies who cared about the well-being of their human servants here? The calamity will kill humans too. Now I see. Darth Vader probably want to run away, but they can't bring themselves to actually do it. Hold on. You said Spring has no intention of keeping Novit safe, right? So then, what if he tries to do something to Mesh? Oh, you don't have to worry about her. She had as much magic energy as a Tamlin. There's no way Spring could do anything to stop her. At best, he can just stall her by entering her in his castle. No, the real problem is we no longer have any way to see her again. Alright. As Spring only cares about saving his own inner circle, he'd never let the Child of Prophecy leave the castle. The second he let her talk to the fairies in the town, Mesh figure out what's really going on. If Mesh won't come to us, we'll just have to go for her. I wouldn't recommend that. Spring's Castle is the most heavily guarded place in all of Britain. It's commonly known as the Vault Castle, and it's like Spring's antisocial personality come to artificial life. If they hold her up in there, not even a Tamlin would have an easy time breaking her out. I know there's nothing you can do about it now, but you really shouldn't leave Mesh to go with him. The only way we'll able to see her again now is if she leaves the castle of her own accord. Irgendwie habe ich das Gefühl, es wird nicht besser. Nun gut, liebe Leute. Oh, 2 RP. Oh, schöne Quest. Oh, spaßige Quest. Oh, das ist eine sehr gute Quest. Naja, kann ich gerne das raustun. Also, mir wird es lang, wenn ich mit Marsa und Castoria hab. Forced Stories. Und wieso eigentlich? Es ist jetzt mal eine Hauptfrage. Gegen was kämpfen wir? Wieso kämpfen wir überhaupt? Einfach random rein. Vielleicht brechen wir schon ins Schloss ein. Pepper und Golem. Mit Marsa, zeig mal, dass du nicht der mittigste Server ever bist, bitte. Oh, ist ja wieder sehr nett, der hat wieder eigene Voicelines. Okay, liebe Leute, dann machen wir jetzt Pepper und Golem. Man müsste das Training, oder? Ich muss sagen, auch wenn mich der Story Story Support mal wieder mega ankotzt, weil es einfach eine sehr, sehr dumme Sache ist, wie eh und je. Muss ich sagen, gefällt mir die Idee aber mit Muramasa ganz gut, weil, wie gesagt, ey, Muramasa, es ist ja jetzt ja also scheinbar Trainings-Arc, was wir hier machen. Ich denke mal, so kann man es halbwegs gut zusammenfassen. Und das ist natürlich so im Endeffekt der Hintergedanke, dass, klar, Artoria, Gareth, also Gareth ist natürlich stärker als vom normalen Level, aber halt immer noch keine Herausforderung. Artoria ist eh noch nicht in ihrer richtigen Verfassung. Genau, killt Gareth, man. Wir könnten ganz aktivieren, aber das Beste, was wir eigentlich machen können, ist, dass sie stirbt. So, und klar, natürlich hier ist Muramasa Level 90 und MP5 und was auch immer, weil es wäre schlimm, wenn es anders wäre, weil, Leute, er ist natürlich eine sehr, sehr, sehr starke Variation von ihm. Schöner Crit, ja, Artoria, Mann. Bam. Mit Marsa. Ultimate mit Servant. So, darf ich mal meine Befehlsdauer einsetzen? Sehr schön. Ja, das geht schon. Typischer alter Mann-Move. So sehen alte Männer aus, Mann. Okay, liebe Leute. Immer das ist hier schon mal wieder gut erledigt. Zack, gibt es hier ein paar Punkte. Alter, was? Oh, ey, Leute, also das sollten standardmäßig einfach so Belohnungen sein, Leute. Hab ich das gerade wirklich für einen verdammten Kampf verhalten? Mann, das ist jetzt so gut, Mann. Gut schon. Also so sollte jede Quest einfach dich belohnen, Mann. Gut. Wie gesagt, ich denke, wir trainieren einfach aktuell, um ins Schloss reinzukommen. Ihr wisst schon, das ist so die Rocky-Montage. Okay, that's that. Now I have a much better idea of what you're capable of. Ah. So, those are the famous Norwich treasures columns I've heard so much about. They really do run pixie dust. So, this is why Peppers brought us to the mountains. I was wondering what they were going on about when they suddenly asked if we wanted to exercise. But, not only did those things turn out to be pushovers, they were loaded with treasure. It is okay if we keep the spoilers for ourselves, right, Count? Of course, the Child of Prophecy party has got to live in style. I know, right? Thanks, Count. Come on, Arturia. Vexy, let's go back to Norwich and spend some money. Yet they have a wakame-flavored gelato here, that's to die for. I guess it makes sense. A Portan would use seaweed in its cuisine. I think I pass for now, or at least until Muramasa taste tested for me. Huh? Wakame-flavored sweets? What do they sprinkle sugar on seaweed or something? I mean, I ain't gonna turn it down. I'd just rather have plain old gelato. Hey Leute, ich dachte jetzt hier kommt dicke Training-Montage. Kein Eis futtern. It looks like all the tensions that are building when we first heard about the deal was in Norwich is eased away nicely. I'm impressed, Count. You found a way to help us relax and get a handle of our abilities all at once. Oh, me? I was just pointing out some groundwork. You guys saved me trouble for me of taking out those golems myself. You really shouldn't be quick to trust me, Da Vinci. Like I said, I'm still a crypta. Once this business with Beryl is taken care of, I'm going right back to being your enemy. A crypta, huh? Your real name was Mirnearo, right? According to Chaldea's database, you were doing dirty work for the Matrixation when Marisbury discovered you. When he assigned you to Chaldea after transferring you to the astronomy department, that all lines up with what you told us in India too, but that's as far back as our record goes. Since you helped us both in India and Olympus, and it looks like you're going to help us here too, would it be presumptuous to say I consider you an ally? And I'd love to know what really makes you tick. Oh wow, that hit me like a bolt of lightning, hon. You're really a genius to come up with a line like that. Really? What is it good? I've never hit anyone before, so that's good to know. Oh yes, darling, it was simply wonderful. After all, you said it for me, not for Chaldea. Alright, it's not very fun story, but if you really want to hear it, well, how can I refuse you? Now, so I want to know what happened back when I still went by Mirangiaro? You want to know what kind of person I really am? Well, you probably have a good idea already from the kind of work I did for the clock tower. My family comes from a long line of Sugendo practitioners, especially for Tengudo, the way of Tengu. It's a secret of Shinguru whose ultimate goes to have his practitioners, referred to as fallen or corrupted Tengu, arrive in hell. It was good enough that everyone used to fawn over me. But, well, maybe being me, it's no surprise that they eventually decided to expel me. So once my family stopped being my family, I tied up a few loose ends and put Japan behind me. By which you mean? I killed my entire family and the sect, yes. So there's no one alive who knows your past. That will explain why there weren't any records of it. So why did you do that anyway? Can't it just be because I thought it was for the best? The Mirangi family was a single generation of Hoduchiyu, diese schweren japanischen Namen, of honor managed to form a connection to Sanat Kumara on Mount Kurama after he fell off to Tengodo. But his descendants weren't so lucky. They had to undergo long intensive training to make their body superhuman without the power of Sanat Kumara. In some ways, it was similar to how Mother Mother lived. You practically kill yourself trying to come up with a special circuit, well, body really, and you can never pass it along to anyone else before you die. The part I didn't have a problem with, though. The real problem was how they went about growing the clan. I was directly descended from the founder, so I was born and raised on Mount Karuma. But all the other Morinji children were kids they abducted from around the foothills. In ancient time, child mortality rates used to be much higher than now. So back then, it was easy to get away with kidnapping the occasional kid to raise their own, but not now. Plus, if the kids couldn't keep up with the training, they'd be abandoned in the mountains, and even if they persevered, the only thing waiting for them was a fall from grace into hell. If messing with people's destinies wasn't bad enough on its own, the fact that the only choice they replaced it with was death or disgrace tango made it even worse. Any group that will keep doing something like that is irredeemable, so when I decided to leave the mountain, I killed them all first. Even though they were a family. Because they were my family. I wouldn't have cared if they'd been strangers. But since they were my family, it was my responsibility to make sure they never ruined any more kids' lives. Das im Endeffekt dasselbe, was nun bei Beryl hier vorhat. Seine Aufgabe erfüllen. I'm very sentimental, but I'm even more of a neat freak. That's why I choose to make my clan break with my family, instead of sticking with them. Basically, I'm no good scumbag who'd rather keep things neat and tidy than honor my crypto obligation. That's probably why I've been helping you guys too. Well, are you convinced? Yep, it turns out you're much stronger than I've given you credit for. By the way, purely out of curiosity, how talented were you exactly? Well, if a Murinji Hujutsu can acquire one of 6 Buddhist powers known as Serokichi in 100 years, that's enough for them to officially be considered a Tengu. I'd mastered 3 of them by the time I turned 10. Jiketsu, the power to run at superhuman speeds, Tajitsu, the power to read people's minds, and the Rojitsu, the power to know how long I live and what my fate will be. Can't blame them for thinking I was kind of a prodigy. Oh, this is so embarrassing. They know just how cruel I've ever been since I was born. Don't tell the others about this, okay? I'd like to keep this a little secret. Pepe, du bist irgendwie ein guter Kerl, Mann, auch wenn du es nicht wissen willst. Auch wenn du es nicht zugeben willst. Ich mag ihn zumindestens. Man, I'm glad Compeperon is godmad. That was the first full-course meal I've gotten to eat in 26 days since we first got to Fairy Britain. Huh? Don't you mean 16 days? Ah, I suspected since we left Salisbury that we might be on a different pages there. Okay, this seems as good as time as to clear this up, so let's get ahead to do that. You probably feel as though you've spent 10 fewer days in Fairy Britain than you actually have. That's because you were unconscious for 10 days after you passed out in the Nameless Woods. And the reason I know that is because you guys showed up at Mike's establishment about 10 days after I started working there. Anyway, it's getting pretty late. I knew we have a lot to think about, but for now, we should make sure we are well rested for tomorrow. We can split up into 2 teams in the morning, and by then, it should be pretty clear whether we ought to focus on scouting out Springswall Castle or on investigating the Calamity Pool. Okay, good night, Maxie. Take advantage of the private room they can't give you to get plenty of rest, okay? Das ist das letzte Mal eventuell, dass wir hier so eine schöne Übernachtungsmöglichkeit haben. Oh, hello. Going out on another wrecking run? I'm not cut out for combat like the rest of you, so I need to at least keep a close eye on things. You're turning in for the night, right? You deserve to enjoy a real bed after so much camping out. Now that we have not one, but 2 Child of Prophecy in Norwich, there's no chance of monks sitting idly by. So I thought I'd go see what's happening in Camelot at least as best as I can. Don't worry, I'll be back morning. See you later. On second thought, I'm just going to ask you, are you okay? What do you mean? I thought you would insist we head to the Vault Castle immediately when we were talking about string and mesh. But you didn't say anything. You're stuck in the same priorities we've been all following so far. I'm sure you want nothing more than to go after her, but as the Master of Chaldea you decided to stay the course. It was the right call, but seeing that face you made, I still couldn't help but worry about you. I'm just following your advice to trust her instead of worry about her. Yeah, I did say that, but... Damn it. Why did I have to say that back then? If I only had been reunited so soon. Sorry. Just thinking out loud. Anyway, let me just say this. Mesh said she still hadn't recovered her memories since leaving the Nameless Woods, right? Well, I'm afraid the Winter's Fury was right. If someone who forgets their name in the Nameless Woods is given a stronger role, that is, a new self, than they'd have before they've lost their memories, they may not ever be able to return to who they once were. I don't know how Mesh ended up taking on the role of Child of Prophecy herself. But did the Mesh, have the role that could possibly surpass it? A role bigger than the responsibility for the fate of the world with everyone's hopes and dreams on her shoulders? Yo, so eine Rolle hat sie. Exactly. It's hard to imagine she did, which means the Mesh you're looking for is gone. We only need one Child of Prophecy to uncover Fairy Britain's secrets, and we already have Archer for that. So, I have to ask, do you still need to concern yourself with Mesh? Even though she might never remember you or go back to being the Mesh you knew? Leute, was ist das für Schwachsinn? Natürlich! Never mind, it's obvious you do. Sorry for wasting your time, I clearly should have been better to ask. Anyway, I'll be happy to lend you my full report. Anything you want to know about the state of the world, I'll learn for you. Let's go, Vespa! Speed the star out! Leute, was ist das für Schwachsinn, Leute? Mesh hat schon immer die Aufgabe gehabt und das Schicksal der ganzen Welt ist auf ihr gelegen. Nur es war eben nicht Fairy Britain, es war unsere Welt, liebe Leute. Und es ist mir wurscht, was der sagt, Leute. Irgendwie in ihr steckt noch unser Mesh. Das haben wir gesehen, als sie geweint hat, liebe Leute. Beim nächsten Mal geht's ja weiter. Und wir schauen mal, was wir nun tun werden. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen. Ciao.